Jennifer Aniston's mother was a tyrant. She always wanted to squash her daughter. Even when Jen became an adult, her mother didn't stop. She published a gruesome tell-all book to humiliate the actress.
Wow, I never saw this. Sorry.
Each time Aniston tried to stand up against the tyranny, she failed drastically. Her nightmare started way back in her childhood. On Jen's 9th birthday, she found out horrible news. Her parents got divorced, and she was left all alone with her abusive mother.
He was quick. There 1 minute and boom, yeah.
Jen's mother was an actress and model who imposed her own beauty ideals on her young girl. She told her daughter that her nose was too big and that her eyes were too close to each other. The tyrant pushed teenage Jen to put on tons of makeup to reach the right beauty standards. She was very critical of me. Because she was a model, she was gorgeous, stunning. I never was. Even now, Jennifer Aniston doesn't think of herself in that sort of light. She also believed she wasn't interesting as a kid. Yes, when Jen was 11, her mother said one of the most painful things Aniston ever heard in her life.
That I was excused from the table because I didn't have anything interesting to add to the conversation.
Ugly, not interesting, and even dumb. That was what she heard from her oppressive parent. Little Jen struggled to read and retain information, and her mother wasn't helpful with that. No, she only made things worse by blaming her daughter for being stupid.
And it stuck with me. It stuck with me like painfully worded sentences can.
But Aniston wasn't stupid. She had a learning disorder which she found out about by accident. In her 20s, Jen went to get a prescription for glasses where she was asked to do a quick reading test. And the doctors immediately realized that she wasn't dumb. No, she had dyslexia. That diagnosis changed everything for the young girl. Now I had this great discovery. I felt like all of my childhood traumas, tragedies, dramas were explained. Aniston thought she was finally free from her struggles. She realized that her tyrant mother was wrong. And while Jen wasn't able to become a good student due to her dyslexia, she was able to focus on her strong sides, her humor and artistry. Aniston was always the funniest in the company of others, when she was the center of attention. And at the same time, she had a passion for drama. That's how Jen got a crazy new dream. She could become an actress. And maybe then her mother would appreciate her a little bit and would stop humiliating her? Unfortunately, no. The tyrant was actually terrified of his daughter's dream, because there was a risk that Jen could become more famous than she ever was. The conflict between them started to escalate. One time, I raised my voice to my mother and I screamed at her, but she looked at me and burst out laughing. Aniston decided to distance herself from her worst critic. She left home and focused on her acting career, hoping to forever be free from the toxic influence of her mother. Years of acting struggles brought her to the best sitcom the world has ever seen, Friends. And when she seemed to be at the top of the world, her mother published that gruesome autobiography.
Oh my God, where did you get that?
I got that out of the book she wrote.
Oh, Jesus, I've never looked at it.
Yes, the tyrant decided to piggyback on her daughter's success, and at the same time, do the best things she could, to humiliate Jen. Again. The book had dozens of Aniston's child photos that she'd never seen previously.
I never saw this. Sorry.
Her mother crossed the line completely, and Jen stopped talking to her. Nor did she invite her mother to her wedding to Brad Pitt, and reportedly not to her later wedding to Justin Theroux either. Aniston was finally free from her mother's tyranny. At least, that's what she thought. But the reality was more brutal. Jennifer's inner trauma led to chronic pain from a pinched nerve in her neck and to several sleeping problems. Aniston suffered from insomnia and even sleepwalking. I've woken up by house alarms going off that I've set off. Her health issues got worse from month to month, and at some point, Aniston realized that she needed to visit a specialist. She started psychotherapy, and that was the turning point in her life. Jennifer finally understood that her mother will never change. She won't ever stop terrorizing her, and the only thing Aniston can do about it is to accept her tyrant mother as she is. Jennifer learned to feel empathy for her. She realized that being a single mum in the 80s was pretty crappy. I think she was just holding on and doing the best she could, struggling financially and dealing with a husband who was no longer there. She started doing yoga, changed her diet, and eventually became her best self. She forgave her mom. At some point, she even decided to meet her. They were never on close terms after, but they were fine. And Aniston didn't feel the tyrannic influence ever again. She became free. Soon after that, her mother died. And in every later interview with Jennifer, we can only hear grateful words about her mum. Forgiveness sets you free.